Be strong, let us be strengthened. Even though we're not chanting Torah tonight, we will still recite these words together. First, I'll recite the words, chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek, and then you will repeat them, and in that way we will preserve a tradition. It's a tradition dating back many centuries. As is the Ashkenazi custom, we say these words only as we come to the end of a book of Torah. This weekend, we will finish together the portion Matot Maseh, and that will conclude the book of Numbers. We will mark that conclusion by reminding ourselves once again, be strong, let us be strengthened. Now, the book of Joshua contains the proof text for these words. The book of Joshua, which largely deals with the violent exploits of the Israelites' first true warrior. Joshua is the man destined to make a home for his people in the Holy Land through military conquest. But Joshua is not only a warrior, he is also the inheritor of Moses' mantle of spiritual leadership for the entire Israelite people. Because of this duality in Joshua's nature, the directive to be strong and courageous, chazak ve'amatz, a message which first comes from Moses and then directly from God, it can be understood in two ways. The spiritual leader, Joshua, must help the people remain spiritually unassailable because they have been known to go spiritually astray. And the warrior, Joshua, must make the people physically strong so that they can take what is promised to them. Only the coupling of spiritual and physical strength can secure God's promise of the Holy Land. Now, if Joshua's first step towards building a strong military seems strange, that's because it is. At God's command, Joshua goes about strengthening his army recruits by having every man circumcised. Spiritual toughness is clearly the priority here, and physical fitness is put aside while the men recover. But recover they do, and by the time the army is facing off against its first enemy, the men's vitality is so improved that they smash the massive walls of that fortress city Jericho with nothing but the sonic blare of their battle cries and shofar blasts. And so Joshua fights on. The military exploits and adventures of Joshua's mighty army continue until the land is won and apportioned between the 12 tribes. Now, the violence that is on display throughout this hostile takeover is alarming, and it makes the book of Joshua an uncomfortable one for modern readers. And then, ironically, despite having finally tapped into their own physical strength, the Israelites only succeed in settling part of the land promised to them. And even that, they are destined to lose. Be strong, let us be strengthened. We Jews have had to say that many times throughout our history. Some of those times are half hidden in the midst of antiquity. Others are modern day, and their horrors are documented with the inhuman accuracy of cold steel. Some are undoubtedly happening today, right now, as we speak, somewhere in the world. It's a burden that we carry with us no matter where we are, no matter how comfortable we are, no matter what our personal experience is. We worry for ourselves and for our spiritual siblings because we have seen over and over, through all periods of history and in all corners of the world, we remember that the world can turn against us. We know that, in fact, it is often at those times and in those places where all seems to be well, where we have been successful, where we have been patriots, where we have been helpful, where we have been fully confirmed, accepted, and embraced as good citizens of the society in which we live. It's often those times and those places in which we find ourselves suddenly rejected, vilified, or attacked. But I think that knowledge gives us a certain kind of strength, like the strength of a muscle that's exercised day after day after day. We Jews are full of strength, and to remind ourselves to be strong, to be courageous, is only to remind ourselves of what we already are. Jewish strength is not something that becomes depleted when we exercise it. It's not something that abandons our bodies or spirits when we bring it out into the world. In fact, our strength is meant to be brought out into the world. Wiesel felt at witnessing the indifference of the world when, as a young boy, he was made to enter the kingdom of night with so many other victims. That horror of the world's indifference dictated what Wiesel did for the rest of his life. And so he said, "That is why I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings endure suffering and humiliation. We must take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere. When human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant. Wherever men or women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe." Now, there is a moment in the book of Joshua when the center of the universe shifts in an event so momentous that the book's thrust toward conquest is turned upside down. This is what happens. Despite God's order that the Israelites destroy all Canaanite cities, Joshua is tricked by the clever Canaanites of the city of Gibeon. He's led into a situation where he must not only spare the Gibeonites, but he must actually defend them against their enemies. Joshua orders God to stop the movement of the sun and the moon so that the Israelites can finish defeating the armies that threaten the Gibeonites. And God obeys. You better believe that the book of Joshua makes note of the fact that never before and never since has God obeyed the orders of a human being, because it's a big deal. In making Gibeon the center of the universe for a day, Joshua harnesses his spiritual and physical strength to maximum capacity. Now look, this is the book of Joshua. It's not a fluffy story. It's a tale of conquest. It's meant to be the heroic origin story of Israelites in the Holy Land. And yet, it is significant. The single greatest human act of strength and power was unleashed in defense of a people not within their group. We are Jews. We know that we ourselves can be at risk at any moment, but we know that our strength grows when we come to the aid of others, who, like us, are strong, yet can always benefit from help in time of need. Joshua's superhuman action was done in support of others. Let us always be prepared to shine like Joshua's sun on the injustices that surround us. Let us be prepared to unleash our strength against the perils of inequity and the pitfalls of neutrality and silence. Let us do so today. Let us do so tomorrow. Let us do so always. And so now I would like to bring us to the concluding portion of our service, Aleinu, by having us recite these words of strength together. First, I'll recite them, and then you can recite them at home after me, and lastly, I will recite them one more time. So as is the tradition, we now rise in strength. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. חזק חזק ונתחזק